All right, hello Division 5 and Division 6. Today I'm going to explain to you how to complete your Figure Me Out art math assignment. Now, for this assignment you're going to need a few supplies. The first supply that you're going to need is your planning page, which should have been sent home. If you are in Ms. Shep's class, this paper is found in your red math duotang. If you didn't finish your planning page or you didn't start your planning page, you can find a blank planning page on Seesaw under the Activities tab, and you can either fill it out on Seesaw or you can write the information out on a piece of paper at home and then use that to complete the assignment. Some other supplies that you're going to need is something to color with. I chose a box of crayons. You'll need a pencil, some scissors, a Sharpie or a black marker, a blank piece of paper. This one is 8.5 by 11. And if you have it at home, some sticky notes. If you don't have sticky notes, I will explain later on in the video what you can do instead. If you don't have all of the same supplies that I used for my assignment, like maybe you don't have a blank piece of paper, you can go ahead and just use whatever supplies you have around your home. For example, for this blank piece of paper, maybe you don't have a plain white piece of paper, but maybe you have colored pieces of paper. Or maybe you have pieces of paper where something was written on one side, but the other side is blank. You can go ahead and use that recycled paper to complete your assignment. Just use whatever you have to get your assignment done. All right, so the first step for our assignment, once we have gathered all of our supplies, is to make sure that your Figure Me Out planning page has been completed. And just to review, you were asked to choose 5 questions to complete. So I figured out my answers here. So I chose to do my age. So I'm 26 years old. So now 26 needs to become the answer to my division problem. So it says division problem that equals your age. So I chose to write 52 divided by 2 equals 26, my age. Okay, and I've got the rest of my questions filled out here. So once you finish that, you can start working on planning out your good copy page. So I started by taking my blank piece of paper and just kind of trying to figure out how everything's going to fit on the page. So the first thing that I did is I left myself a little bit of space at the top to write my title, and I used my ruler to draw a straight line so that my title wouldn't be all crooked. And once I was finished with my title, I kind of tried to figure out how my 5 questions were going to fit around the piece of paper. Now, for my 5 questions, I used my sticky notes. Now, if you look at my sticky notes aren't the same size as they are on this piece of paper. So I cut my sticky notes into a rectangle of 5 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So if you want to do the flaps, I would suggest either taking a sticky note, or you can use another piece of colored or white paper and cutting out your 5 rectangles. And as I said, I did 5 centimeters by 4 centimeters, and I just used a ruler, drew on the square, and then I used my scissors to cut it out. Now, if you don't have extra paper, you can just write your question and your answer on your white piece of paper. It's just not as fun because then other people can't solve your questions. Okay, so do your title first, then make and place your flaps or your boxes on the piece of paper. Make sure that when you're doing your flaps that you leave enough space to write your titles that go with your questions. So once you've placed your flaps on, so I just stuck mine on like this where I wanted them, Then I went ahead and I wrote my titles, and I wrote them in pencil first. So here we've got my age, the number of letters in my name, and this all just came from my planning paper. Once I'd done my titles in pencil, then on the front of the flap, I went ahead and I wrote the question. Now you're not going to write your answer on here, just your question. And again, this is from your planning page, and that's done in pencil. And then I lifted up the flap, and underneath I wrote the answer. Once I'd written all of my 5 questions and answers, then I drew my little picture of myself in the center. Okay, so once everything has been written in pencil first, double check your work, make sure that your questions and answers match up, that they match with the title that you've done, and then you are ready to make this look nice. So I started by outlining everything with Sharpie so that it would really stand out, and then I just colored in with my crayons just to make it look a little bit nice. Once you are completely happy with how your paper looks, you are going to go ahead and log into Seesaw, and you are going to take a photo of your work. Make sure that you also show your answers, so you might have to take 2 photos, and you're going to upload this to Seesaw under the Activities tab, and the activity is called Figure Me Out.